Good morning, Crucible connoisseurs. This morning I'm going to jam a game with Ep04, the Prophet of the Passage. This is a really fun racing deck that I've identified that really embodies that Mario Kart aspect that I've heard the fellows from the Keychains podcast most notably talk about. Has a lot of ways of tripping up your opponent on the way to the finish line, as well as getting you those mushrooms to boost on ahead. So I've really enjoyed testing it out on the Crucible. And now let's see if we can get into a game here. The Crucible's been kind of acting funny this morning. Okay. I cannot get into games right now, so let's just create one myself. Alright, we got someone ready to go right away. I think they must be doing some updates right now because it's been acting a little silly. All right, here we go. Let's see how this race goes. So they won, so they're going to start things off. A quick look at Director Miguel Flores. So Dis, Sanctum Untamed, they have a Key Charge and a Chota. Witch of the Wild, which is pretty good. Virtuous Works. Alright, Sacrificial Altar. I'm not as familiar with that one. Okay, perfect. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I like this. Let's keep this. 3-3-2-1. Let's just go with Untamed to start with. Nothing wrong with the Taliga. The reverse Hunting Witch. Love it. Start off with some Sanctum. Today I decided to try something different with my coffee selection. I have a really nice espresso roast from the Drum Roaster Coffee on Vancouver Island, and it says it has notes of like chocolate and baker's chocolate, red fruit, and spices, and when you smell the beans they straight up smell like chocolate. So I decided to try it as just a brew, and it's quite delicious. Coffee and Crucible, you just can't go wrong. Turn 1 Virtuous Works, nothing to scoff at. Alright, so we're going to go Untamed and proceed to do Taliga, the Nif, and a Dust Pixie. Perfect. Alright. I'm not a fan of Dexter. So far, as I've gone to play this deck more and more, my solution has been to straight up discard it every time. Although this deck went very fast. This deck, we're truly going to be on a race. Oh wow. Turn 2, Forge the Key with the Chota. That's impressive. Okie dokie. I know they can't pull the Chota back. They don't have a Nature's Call. And the Effervescent Principle might have been good, but I think I'm just going to stick with my Shadows plan. So I'm going to go with a Pawn Sacrifice. I'm just... Oh, wait. Did they have a regrowth? They do not have a regrowth. Okay. So let's get their board down a little bit. I didn't want to put the Dust Pixie in the yard. It's not the... I don't feel it's the most efficient play, because you could have a way of maybe getting it back through just going through your deck. And now we get the shenanigans of the Carlo Phantom. So let's see how they can respond to me being in check. So I pulled a Carlo Phantom, Stampede, and a Vigor. I think I am going to probably go the Untamed just to get more cards out of my hand. I'll get to steal one from the Carlo Phantom. This artifact double Carlo Phantom line has been amazing. I actually love it's maybe one of my favorite combos in the game. This deck does have a lot of artifacts, so it works really well, and I found that the Carlo Phantom is kind of overlooked. Like, people don't necessarily put it as a target right away, so you usually get to at least do it once. Yeah, I definitely feel like it's so overlooked. It's hilarious, and then people suddenly realize how much of a threat it is, and it's pretty awesome. And so here we are. They're still not addressing the Taliga yet, which is great. It's putting in a lot of work. So far in the race, I have just pulled ahead, and now I'm about to get rid of the one thing that they did have. Wish I had a third creature to use. So here we go. Watch this. Play the Nepenthe Seed, steal one. So I can go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, I can get him to check. I don't even need to worry about anything else. Is there anything I can go into? Nope. So we're just going to go play the Reap game here. Hit up a Stampede. And a Vigor. And I'm in check. So back-to-back check turns, that's the way this deck goes. He needs to address Taliga because that's going to be problematic. So next I'm going to probably go with a Shadows line again. I may pull the Pawn Sacrifice back. I probably will not activate the Nepenthe Seed yet. I think I actually will save it for Taliga because it is a way of not doing it. Okay, so we finally addressed Taliga. Let's see what he does here. He actually, that was not the best thing because he had to get rid of a whole bunch of his own stuff. So gain an Ember from Begone, played a Bulwark to protect the Dust Pixie. That's hilarious. I had an opponent last night who, I don't know if they were a new player or not, but they literally put Protect the Weak and another upgrade on an Ember Imp, which I thought was super weird. So we're pretty much even here. It's Shadows for sure for me. So do I have any ways of stealing? Yes, so I will Reap then instead. But will I destroy that creature? So we got a Skirmish here. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, so it doesn't really matter. But I will get rid of the creature. That's the bonus. But do I want to get rid of Dust Pixie? It's still a reaping machine, I think, at the end of the day. So I'm going to just play out my cards first. So the dilemma I'm having is, it's just not really even a dilemma. I think I should just get rid of the creature, because so what I would do is fight into this. Its Skirmish will make it survive. It only has 1 armor, deal 2 damage, it kills it. I steal 1, then I Reap with this. So right now it'd be Reap, Reap. Not dead. Okay, yeah, so it's the same Ember at the end of the day, so let's just do that. Let's reduce the board. And then I can just Reap with this guy instead. Same outcome, so not too bad. And that's the turn. Alright, so now it's time to start thinking about logos, potentially, but at the same time, I'm I'm really not that concerned about it if they don't do something. Oh, perfect. Covered my Dexter for me. Could not be a better situation. Right now, because they're not addressing this line here of all the shadows, I may just call shadows again since they got rid of something. It's going to put me in a good position. Now I got to start thinking about potentially doing the Relentless Whispers. I played Fear. What are they returning to my hand? I'm curious what they're going to choose here. I would say the Naughty would be the obvious one. Oh, the Nexus. Oh, right. They're artifacts. That makes sense. So at this point, I'm thinking the Nepenthe Seed is better off. Is better off almost just being used now rather than waiting. The way the game's progressing, I'm on my second key. There's no point holding it. I think a Relentless Whispers just for the Ember might be the way to go, or use it on myself. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, Shadows, let's play the Nexus. Going to steal one. I'm going to reap. Reap. Sack the Nepenthe Seed. Pull the Relentless Whispers. Play this on my Naughty. And steal all their Ember. So that's the turn. I'm in check at 9. Just went back-to-back checks. That's the way this deck runs, basically. Is you just look for ways to get them, like, look, I'm going into my final key with them having 0 Ember. I've managed to stay on top of it the whole game. This deck is super fun to play. It's got so many shenanigans. I love it. I'm very curious to see. I'm not sure how they're going to put me off a key using Untamed as their final house. So we'll see how this one plays out. But so far this deck needs to be sleeved up and taken to some chainbound events and see how it really goes, which I may do tonight. I do have a chainbound event. I'm debating taking this one or just continue rolling with my super powerful AoA deck. It's got 6 chains. I'm trying to get it to that power level 2, so I'm thinking about, I'm going to bring this one and then have the question at the end. Yeah, I don't know how this guy's going to stop me. I didn't see anything that could put me off of this. I respect that he didn't just concede and is still playing out a turn. Yeah. Alright, that's going to be all for today, folks. Just going to do a little recap here. So yeah, this deck is super fun, and only problem I've had on the Crucible is Fog Bank when it's a tiny card. Compared to the Lost in the Woods, they are very similar looking. So one thing I've had a lot of success with here is a Mobius Scroll. Archive Mobius Scroll and 2 other cards from your hand. It's a great way to thin your hand out, as well as get an ability to replay an artifact with those 2 Carlo Phantoms and Steel. So I've really been enjoying that. The card in this deck that is, I would say, the absolute most useless is Dexter. I think the only chance I would ever play Dexter is if I had nothing else to put them off a key for 1 turn. That is literally the only way I would play Dexter, under no other circumstances. It's almost an auto discard for me every time. So appreciate everyone tuning in to this morning's episode of Crucible and Coffee. Please subscribe and check out some of the other videos I got going on.